4 years ago, I was working at a reputable international development organization, felt respected and valued, and had almost unlimited opportunities for travel. I immensely enjoyed working with the team I had assembled, loved my boss, and was advancing quickly. But the hours were long, the days were jam-packed full of meetings, and I was under pressure to meet client deadlines largely outside of my control. And the stress I felt at work was overflowing into my personal life. I had more than a decade of experience in the same career trajectory, and I felt stuck in a job and a career path that I didn't find personally fulfilling. I felt alone, but now I know I was just one of many international development professionals entering into their mid-career who felt the same way I did and don't know what to do. If you're a mid-career professional who needs to make a mindful career move, for whatever reason, here's some good news. You don't have to start at the bottom. Even if it's not in the same field, your experience still counts and can help you skip over the entry-level positions. Also know you're not alone. At Head Global, we not only provide recruitment and business development support to the international development industry, but we also provide advice to job seekers looking for their next role. Through our team's collective 35 years of experience advising and interviewing thousands of international development professionals, we help mid-career transitioners stand out and achieve your career goals. In this Flash Talk, we'll first provide some context and then outline Head Global's Playbook for the Mid-Career Pivot to give you a tangible framework to go about making a meaningful career move. For today's purposes, with the Devex Career Forum participants in mind, our mid-career advice is geared to anyone who has more than 7 years of experience working in the field of global development. When we talk about a career transition, this can come in many forms. A new role at your current organization, a shift into a similar role at a new organization, or a shift into a new job in a different function, sector, or geography. One topic we will not cover today is a total pivot into or out of international development. But our career coaches at Head Global can help you if this is your scenario, and Devex also has excellent articles on this topic. With all of this in mind, we'll now walk through Head Global's Playbook for the Mid-Career Pivot. We've purposely designed our playbook to be both strategic and tactical. So, like in any game, you must know how to maneuver through variable situations, be prepared, make some friends, and be nimble enough to continually learn and adapt. Head Global's playbook for the mid-career pivot includes the following steps. Self-assess. Make a plan. Research the market. Update your CV and online profiles. Start networking. Ace the interview. Negotiate from strength. And do your job and do it well. Step 1. Self-assess. If you are contemplating a mid-career move, you likely have already placed an importance on continually being challenged, even if you fear you have a skill set or expertise that makes you feel locked in to your current position. The number one mistake we see made by job seekers is they start looking for a job too quickly without preparing, especially if they are in a position of urgency. Whether you are unhappy in your current role or simply looking for a change to be more fulfilled for longer-term success, it's important to sit down and carefully self-assess. The most important questions to ask yourself include, what is your ideal end career goal? Whatever your situation, remember that your next move is likely not your last move, especially if you are making a somewhat drastic shift. Next, ask yourself, what are your main skills that are the most transferable? To identify your current transferable skill set, sit down and make a list of all your skills and abilities. What skills and talents do you possess, and how can they be applied to your new field? Remember, as a seasoned professional, you're in luck. Many of the skills employers seek out the most are transferable. Finally, ask yourself, what is the metric by which you determine your own success? What makes you truly happy? Is it flexibility? Status? Title? Base pay? By the way, it does not make you shallow if you are highly motivated by base pay, especially since so many of mid-career people today have significant student loan debt. Whatever your chosen metrics are, write them down and continually revisit as you determine what career move is best for you. As I previously mentioned, for my own career path, I learned I was not motivated by base pay, title, or a rigid schedule that the career path I had was affording me. So I sought the advice of multiple professional career coaches. The best piece of advice they gave me was to avoid seeing career advancement and success merely through the traditional lens of better title and better pay. I personally didn't like being wed to a specific office location or city, and the most important thing to me was to be able to take time off from my family whenever I needed it. I immediately stopped looking for what I thought to be the higher level jobs and instead pivoted and started my own business. Step 2, make a plan. Once you know where your strengths lie and what will make you happy, it's crucial to make a plan to ensure that your actions are leading you to where you want to be and not merely where the jobs are. At Head Global, we've seen that those candidates who make a plan are less distracted by random job boards and job notifications that might not be the best match for them, and they're more focused on what jobs will serve them best in the long run. Whether you'll start looking for a job next week or 6 months from now, we always suggest to first build a calendar and to establish your job search metrics. Give yourself a timeline and make sure you look at it regularly and adjust it as your situation changes. The items on your calendar might include deadlines to research a new job function, craft an updated resume, or begin sending out cover letters. You will also want to establish your own metrics of job searching success, such as sending a certain number of emails to potential employers or holding a certain number of informational interviews. Put these on your calendar to help you stay motivated and on task. Step 3, research the market. From your self-assessment, you identified the skills you have. Now it's time to start identifying the skills you need to have to make the career transition you want. One important place to start, if you're currently employed and enjoy working with that organization, is to first check with your current employer. If they know you're looking to move, they'll likely be more candid with you about your strengths and more inclined to open up their networks to you to make sure you end up where you want to be. While full transparency with your employers about your job search isn't always possible or advised, it can have the most profound positive impact on navigating the career transition. Next, search for similar CVs and profiles on places like Devex or LinkedIn to look at professionals who are already working where you want to be. One major consideration might be if you find the people in these jobs all have a master's degree that you do not. Don't let this be a deal breaker, but when you begin to hold informational interviews, ask whether this is often a deciding factor in hiring into this type of role. Finally, look at job postings for the types of positions you want to have. What requirements are listed? What words do they use? Keep in mind, you don't need to have every requirement listed on a job posting to apply, but there are some that are often deal breakers. As you look at these job requisitions, begin to jot down the skills you already have that seem the most applicable. You'll use these later on as you craft your CV and prepare for interviews. Step 4, update your CV and profiles. Your profiles on places like Devex and LinkedIn, and the documents you send to hiring managers like your CV and cover letter are the best tools you have to make your first impression. It's important to invest the time and resources into making these really shine, especially if you're making a mid-career shift and are up against individuals with a more traditional or established background. After all, most hiring managers aren't specifically looking for someone who is pivoting. And it's up to you to convince them that that's exactly why they want to hire you. Here's your first chance to convince them. The most basic way we can offer this advice is to emphasize the fact that you must tell your story. Your CV cannot be generic. One of the biggest mistakes we see candidates make is writing a CV that reads like a job description, or merely a long list of tasks performed. Not only boring to read, but if you're a career transitioner, the job descriptions from your previous positions will likely not paint the transferable skills you're trying to emphasize. Make your CV results-oriented. Numbers often speak louder than words and are much more eye-catching in a resume. For example, instead of saying, developed agricultural development proposals to increase organizational revenue, you could say, led team of technical and proposal specialists that developed winning agricultural development proposals for 15 programs on 3 continents, adding over $75 million to the company's portfolio. Also, Avoid industry jargon unless it's their jargon. You probably have a very thorough understanding of your niche within the international development industry, the lingo, terms, acronyms, slang, and so on. But your experience with USAID might not translate to a job with the World Bank or the private sector. However, if you're staying within your niche and merely moving job functions, it can be important to keep some or all of these acronyms and industry-specific jargon. Still, consider using short phrases to define what they are and how they helped you achieve your career goals. What you don't want is to confuse anyone trying to scan your resume and understand what you've done. Step 5, start networking. Networking, especially in the international development industry, is more than meeting people for coffee and trying to mingle at happy hours. Our industry is global yet tightly connected. You're unlikely in the same city or even country as those you want to connect with, but it is likely that you are only 1 or 2 degrees removed from knowing them personally. And in our industry, like many others, it is often about who you know. No matter what, you'll want to identify a few champions or select your own board of advisors. These would be 2 or 3 individuals who are among your most trusted inner circle, have worked with you before, and perhaps bring experiences that you don't have. These confidants know your strengths, weaknesses, interests, and passions, perhaps better than you do. They can help you navigate into the career path that you're looking toward. Next, use your existing network. Inform your close industry colleagues that you're considering a move and share the details on what you're looking for. Having many other eyes out there helping you look for job leads can have an exponential payoff. Finally, work deliberately but efficiently to expand your network to those who work in the new field you're looking into. Attend career fairs, make new contacts, and request informational interviews. Step 6, ace the interview. By this point, you are likely to be receiving some interest, which we all hope results in an interview. But interviews can be daunting, especially for a job that doesn't match squarely with your past decade or more of experience. Research the company. There is no greater interview faux pas than the inability to articulate what the company you want to work for is all about. Not only can this cause you to ask the wrong questions in the interview, but can be an automatic deal breaker if they think you're not interested enough in the position to do your homework. Or worse yet, that you don't know how. Research the individuals that you will be speaking with. This is rarely a deal breaker, but can help you form a connection with those you're speaking with and make you more memorable. You've already done a lot of homework through your research, so be sure to go back and refresh yourself on all of the jargon, requirements, and other specifics that will show the hiring panel you are a lower risk candidate even if moving across functions or sectors. Prepare anecdotes that showcase your transferable skills. To do this, you'll first brainstorm your own experiences that you will want to highlight, even though you don't yet know the questions they will ask. Next, you'll anticipate the questions and practice how to answer them by quickly tailoring your trove of anecdotes to the questions posed. Do you know the relevant trends, key players, challenges, competitors, or people in the industry? Do you have the ability to get up to speed quickly? Are you in this field for the long run? You must show them that even as someone moving sectors or fields, you're not just hopping from one company to the next. No matter the questions they ask about your ability to be the next new contracts director, even if you lack full-time contracts management experience, you'll be able to showcase your abilities to be resourceful, a strong leader, or navigate conflict with a difficult stakeholder. Note that you should approach an interview at your current employer the same as you would as an external one, and follow as many of these tips as are appropriate. To present your best self in all interviews, you will want to follow some basic principles like dressing sharp, arriving on time, and asking relevant questions. These fundamentals hold true for all interviews, but when interviewing virtually, there are some additional considerations. Make sure that you test your webcam, the interview software platform, get rid of potential distractions, and prepare your space to ensure they're focused on you. Step 7, negotiate from strength. By this point, you'll hopefully have a much more solid understanding of the jobs you've been applying and interviewing for, and likely have gained some information throughout this process about the general compensation and benefits. However, You might not have all of the information you need to confidently negotiate a final package, and you likely won't have too much time to get this information. Do your market research. During your informational interviews and networking, be sure to ask others what typical salaries or benefits look like in this field. We don't recommend paying for market data unless you absolutely have to, but you can find quite a bit of information on places like Glassdoor, LinkedIn, and individual job requisitions. Negotiate over the phone or in person and be prepared. Note the power of silence during negotiations in person or over the phone. Let the hiring entity fill that awkward space. The hiring manager on the other side is a professional in negotiating and normally actually does have your best interest at heart. So the conversation does not need to be adversarial, even if it is sometimes awkward to discuss these matters. Think beyond the base salary. During your self-assessment phase, you looked at what matters to you most in order to feel successful and happy. The more you can disclose to the hiring manager what's important to you, the better they can craft a complete compensation and benefits package that is most attractive to you within the confines of their given limitations. Above all else, be honest. Most organizations are not looking to take advantage of you, but if they don't know your own limitations and preferences, it's hard for them to craft a package that is most ideal for you. Step 8. Do your job and do it well. Congratulations! If you've gotten here, that means you are in your new job and you have navigated the mid-career move. As a business development professional myself, I often use the phrase, the best new business is old business, meaning your ongoing and past performance and work is most likely the indicator of future success. Don't immediately look toward your next transition and resist the temptation to begin navigating another career move, even if the one you just successfully completed was merely a waypoint. However, once you are in your new role, we do recommend you self-assess on an annual basis or perhaps every 2 years. Doing so more frequently might cause undue pressure on you to change something that's working well. But going several years without asking yourself whether you are in the right role and if it's making you happy could leave you feeling stagnated or frustrated. Don't forget to pay it forward. Grant those informational interviews and give your sage advice to those looking to follow in your footsteps. We hope you've been inspired to take the next step in your career, and there's no better place than here at the Devex Career Forum. Visit the 50+ employers here today and keep doing that research and preparation that will help you as you move forward in your search. Please visit us at Head Global's virtual booth and take a look at our job boards and services and let us know if we can be of help. We thank everyone at Devex for helping us network and job search today from the safety of our own homes. We'd also like to thank those of you in international public health for being on the front lines of this global pandemic, and those working in disaster response who are helping us move forward. May you and your loved ones stay safe and sane, and we at Head Global look forward to meeting you in person soon.